Hi, beautiful human. I'm Zach. And from New York City, we got Jeremy Zucker and Chelsea Cutler here. Woo!
What up? Thanks for
I didn't
having
realize
us.
we started.
I mean, like, I don't, like, it just kind of flows.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Cool.
Is there really ever a start or an end? I guess so.
Bro.
Think about it, though, for a second.
We can't do that right now.
Does it ever end?
How does the process for Brent begin? We'll start there, I guess.
Ooh. Well, in general or like in, what do you mean?
I mean, we're talking about a series of EPs, right? Are we still labeling them EPs or are we calling them albums? What's the right way?
This one is an album.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, because it
11
is.
songs.
It's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you, man.
It's 11 songs and it comes out and 11 to eyes. Wait, oh my God.
What, bro?
Sorry.
No, there's 3 eyes.
3 eyes. Oh my God.
It comes out 11-1. 11 songs.
11-1.
Yeah, it's soon.
Was there always meant to be 11 songs or did you end up having to cut things to get to the 11?
It was going to be 10 songs.
Well,
and
it was
then-
going to be 5 songs.
Yeah.
And then it was going to be 10 songs. And then it was 11.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Should we start from the beginning? Right?
So non-linear right now.
Like, okay, explain that to me. Let's start from the beginning, I guess. Like, why does it get to 5 at one point?
I guess because the other ones were 5.
Okay, so
You got this.
rewind to 2018. Chelsea and I meet for the second time in real life to make music together. The first time was at a frat party at the University of Connecticut.
And you were just playing there.
It was like the first show I ever did. This kid who I'm like randomly still friends with today flew me out to his fraternity to play like a darty, like a day party. And
He flew you out. Like,
yeah, flew me out. I got flued out to play a show. It was like
at a darty.
it was like the most baller thing that ever happened to
I
me
just
at
love
that
that
point
you
in
just
my life.
explained Darty to us.
Had to.
Bro.
It's not in my vocabulary right now.
Well, she definitely knows what a darty is. She was attending.
I
Yes,
attended.
she was
It was my
at the
first
Darty.
Darty though. It was so sick.
Oh, you guys shared a first.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it was my first like big college party because I went to a tiny school.
We both went to really small schools. So
But
showing up
anyways,
at UConn was like,
That's a big deal.
Chelsea and I were acquainted via SoundCloud. We actually have like the original message somewhere. I feel like I was like, "Hey, I love your stuff," and you were like, "Cool." It was like really awkward and weird, but
totally.
ran into her so randomly at this party, and then must have only been a couple months later. We decided to do a session together at this like random studio in Connecticut, built in like an old carriage house, and we sat down and just immediately wrote this song called Better Off, which I eventually put out, and it did great, and it's one of my favorites ever. And Chelsea and I were like, okay, that was so easy, we should do more music together. So we decided to go back to that studio, and we only spent like 4 days there and ended up writing 3 songs together, and we each wrote like an individual song, popped it together. It was an EP. It became an EP, and then we called it Brent, and then it just grew a life of its own.
Inspired by like a street, right?
Inspired by a street.
Brentwood
Yeah.
Road.
Brentwood Road. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
tried to,
feel like I know. Like, are we sure it was even called that?
Yeah, I definitely
Okay,
remember.
nice.
We were driving home from this studio and talking about what we were going to name the EP, and we were literally just like saying things that we saw on the street. I hate to reveal that because I feel like it gets rid of some of the magic.
No, it is but it is. We were so young, and like we had no idea what this project was supposed to be. And it's adorable that we were just in the car, like reading street signs.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
It's special because there is something to that young naivete and confidence that comes with just, I don't know, like you don't really know what's right or wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? And you're figuring it out genuinely as you go. And there is some magic to those EPs that like, I mean, the first one, the Carriage House has something, no?
Well, I think too, it speaks to like when we were making the first Brent, we were doing it purely to have fun. Like we weren't sitting there trying to devise a marketing plan. Like, what should this be called? What is Brent? What is, what does that mean? What's the branding? Like, we're just two kids, so young and dumb, and we're like, oh, Brent's funny. Like, let's call it that.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of a half troll to be like, let's name it Brent.
Yeah, but like, everything that Brent is emerged from such a honest and like innocent.
Honest and innocent.
Like an honest and innocent place,
Like unjaded and like full of emotions, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So pure, yeah.
Is there something about the two of you that allow you to be vulnerable with each other and like share? Or because you wrote that stuff together and then obviously you have the two that you wrote apart, is that the same model that you keep today?
Kind of, yeah. So we did that. I think we wrote it in 2018. It came out in 2019. And then 3 years later, or maybe 2 years later, we got back together.
22, yeah.
And we were like, okay, we did this thing that became so special for both of us. And we had no idea what we were doing. So what if we got together to do it again and we actually knew what we were doing this time? Like, could we make something as special, but like more intentional? And we had some hiccups at first. We realized like when you try really hard to do something, it's, I don't know, how do you explain like the obstacle that we hit? Like, it became less natural, basically. And we got like a bigger, better studio and like a different part of upstate New York. And we were just like pressuring ourselves really hard. And it took taking a step back and being like, okay, we need to not give a fuck about this to do it well. So I think like one day we just stopped making music and we just started hanging out, and then the songs just started flowing from there. We finished the project and it was just way more cohesive and like together. And when we produced it out, it was just like so clear what it was. And I feel like that's really when we like solidified what the world of Brent is.
Yeah, because I think doing Brent the first time was such a happy accident that trying to go in and do that again intentionally, obviously, was a learning curve for us. There was a day we didn't speak. We were like, we need a break. We need to relax. It was challenging to go, especially because like when we went in to do Brent the first time, like you slept on a futon and I slept on an armchair. And we were, again, like
you're just figuring it out.
Yeah,
kids.
like it was just born from so much innocence and like just a desire to make music together for fun with like no real objective. And I think then to kind of put us in, like when we went back to do it again, like we were in a much like bigger, fancier studio and staying in like a nice home, like on the property.
You also had a hit, right? Like that first EP gives you a hit. So does that
totally
redefine what it could potentially redefine what the whole project means in that moment, or at least outside influence?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely felt pressure, for sure. And then again, like I think not to kind of say, not to be redundant, but I think when you are intentionally trying to do something that was born out of like a lack of intention, that's really hard to recreate. And we got there, we did it, and it was awesome. And then I think bringing in intentionality is what you meant when you said like we solidified what the brand of Brent was and the meaning of Brent.
We had to like take a step back and not give a fuck and have fun and throw a bunch of paint at the wall, and then later go back with a lot of intention and be like, okay, this worked, this didn't work, how can we finish this and like finish the vision. We had most of the project done and did one more day in my studio in Brooklyn to finish it up. Do you remember what we did that last day?
This is how you fell in love.
Yeah. So we had like we had the project done. Like we thought we had our 5 songs, and then we're like, let's just try to get one more. And then we started writing this song that felt like it was an iconic, timeless wedding song.
It is.
And we were just like, this is insane. And the weirdest part is like, it's not a very personal song for either of us. It's just like, it felt like a song for the people when we were making it. But yeah, that one just, like, we didn't know what we were doing there. Like, we weren't like, let's write a song about falling in love that doesn't have to do with us. And I don't know, whatever.
What were you thinking in that moment? Where were you writing from?
Honestly, I was just like, this sounds awesome. Like, we were not thinking.
I think as a...
You were not thinking is something, though, because that's like a common thread. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, like, I think as a songwriter, like, at a certain point, like, it is a skill set. So, like, we knew that it kind of was evolving into a love song of sorts. And I think we're, like, both equipped to kind of look at each other and say, like, let's write this song that feels like walking down the aisle at a wedding.
What was the first lyric?
Well, the first lyric, I think, was me humming, like... We actually were recording the intro of Parent song, I believe it was.
Oh my God, yeah.
Jeremy gave me a microphone and was like, just hum things.
Because we had like...
That's a cool technique.
We had the song,
no, it is.
The song called Parent Song that like we both wrote as like a letter to our parents. And the intro was like just guitar and it was kind of boring. So we were like, okay, we need to put something here. Gave Chelsea the mic. I was like, hum shit.
And we did like the
yeah. Okay, so this is actually sick. I want to find the voice memo. But she was like, da, 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 oh my love, side to side. And I stopped and I was like, what was that? Oh my love, side to side. And she was like, I don't know, I just did that. Open a new session. Chelsea sits at the piano, starts playing chords, and then we're just like, oh my love, side to side. Then we started doing this, ooh, ooh, my love, side to, like back and forth sort of thing. And then I don't know, it just came together so magically like that. I refuse to believe that it's like because we tried so hard to like get it. Like it was so accidental. And I think, honestly, like I think the like talent and skill when it comes to being a writer is like not doing it. It's like recognizing it, like being able to like see it and pick it out from the noise.
Totally. Because like as a songwriter, you write things all day long, all the time. And I think being able to identify like, oh, that actually felt good.
And most of it's shit.
What's
like,
bad?
Most of the things that like I come up with, like that most people that make stuff, like no one's a born genius and everything that comes out of their mind is gold, you know? It's like there's so much shit going on in the brain and you just got to let it out and then see what's good.
How do you decipher though? And is there a common thread to the things that are good?
I mean, I think a person's taste is fully what like identifies them as like an individual and as an artist. Like I think the difference between every songwriter and like every musician is like their taste is a reflection of like how they see the world. And like what I would identify as good varies from what like you would always identify as good and is different from like what any other artist would think is good, you know?
I was going to say like that's exactly right. Because yeah, every person, every artist has their own like, what's the word for it? Their own inclinations when they're like coming up with stuff and when they hear something they like. And I think what it comes down to is like being honest with yourself and trusting your gut and like knowing that you like something because you like it, not because you think other people are going to like it. And it seems really obvious, but like I've even had a lot of trouble deciphering between, okay, am I excited about this because it resonates with me or because I'm excited that I think other people are going to like it because it's going to give me success. And it's just like a real trap to fall into.
It's scary to like stand on your business with like your tastemaking. Like I know that sounds really dumb, but like I think as an artist, like one of the hardest things you can do is like assert your own belief in something because you think it's cool, not because like the label or your manager or your friends think it's cool.
And it's hard like when people hype you up and it takes a lot to, it's like you have to be really brave to be like, I actually don't think that this is that special. Like I get that like you guys think that this is going to be such a big deal, but if we don't feel it, then
You
it's
also
not
gotta
right for us.
You also gotta like stand on it even when it doesn't perform well too.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, I really believe in this thing.
Yeah. Do we
And
have any songs that flopped that we thought should have not flopped?
Everything I've ever made. What, bro? Like, I believe in everything.
Well, yeah, you should.
I believe in everything.
Which you should, because they're extensions of you, and songs are a part of you, and
Chelsea's very modest.
They're around forever. You know, they really are around forever.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, what defines a flop these days is totally different. Also, what defines a hit these days, totally different.
I don't think there's any such thing as a flop right now.
I agree.
There's no such thing.
Everything finds the ears that it's meant to hit.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you have a fan base and you're building that and you're serving that fan base, then nothing's a flop. Like nothing's falling on like deaf ears.
Is it fair to say that song changed your life? This is how you fall in love?
I don't know if it did.
I really dissociate a lot. So
That's probably healthy.
I don't think it changed our careers that much. Like, I think it was such a slow burn to becoming a really big song. But like, oh my God, my stomach just audibly gurgled. I'm starving. I don't know. I feel like You Were Good to Me was like a much bigger deal. And like much bigger for our careers.
I mean, I think, yes, 100%. Like, there is something in both those records, but like, I don't know. Like, they also sound connected in some way. Is that crazy? I think a lot of things are connected. Like, is it fair to say Parents and Ashes and Rust are, I mean, they're both about parents.
Mm-hmm.
Are they continuations of one story?
well, I think that everything we write for Brent, like theoretically the through line is that it came from real honest conversations between us just as friends. You know, like I think that inherently there's like continuity between all of the songs because it like came from the same people and like the same friendship.
Do any records come from you like humming again?
We had a lot of like improv type stuff going to Brent 3. Like Terrible Things was like fully like us jamming at the piano and like pretty much improv the whole hook.
I think almost every song is like starting as humming for sure.
Yeah.
You know, just like thinking back. Yeah, rarely do the words come with the melody, but when that happens, it's so special. I don't know.
Just thinking like maybe I'm crazy and I've listened to these bodies of work so many times, but they all sound such from the same sonic universe that they do sound like just different stages of one's life. That like you like it's both of your lives intertwined and just sharing it with a friend. Like that's how I read into it and like pick up on it. I've listened to these. I mean, dude, they're so good. They are exquisitely done. And this album, to me, it's like acoustic meets Americana, and you've amped it up. Like these records are anthemic. They really feel anthemic. A-Frame, I mean, I get anthem from it.
Thank you.
I mean,
so nice.
Banger.
It is a banger, right? Why was that like, I don't know. It encapsulates this theme of nature. Do you feel like you get the album from that one record?
I would say no.
I would say half of it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one side of it.
It's a part of it.
It's like the
Makes sense.
It's like the outward facing part of it. And like when we did that, I mean, both of us knew going into this project, like we obviously are very familiar with like everything that we've done together, and like kind of always looking back and referencing it in the context of what we want to make. And I think we were really missing like big, happy acoustic, you know? And those are like kind of lame descriptors, but like big reverb room, like Lumineers type indie folk songs, basically. And when we did that, we were just like, yep, that is checking that box of like what we imagined this project was going to be.
At what point in the process did you make that song?
super early.
Yeah, really early. That was like the second song that we did, or third.
Second, I think. Yeah.
We stayed at this A-frame in Big Bear, and it's funny, like a lot of people don't really know what an A-frame is.
But it looks like an A.
Yeah, it's like a
Right?
house that's like
Yeah.
a triangle with like a beam across on the
Well,
inside.
what's
So
kind
it's
of
literally an
embarrassing
A.
is like when you try to explain A-frames to people, they're like, so every like house is an A-frame, but it's
No,
not.
it's like a one
It's
room. It's like a big room sometimes. But
I get what you're saying. Like it could be A-frames on top. Like it
well,
is.
you know, like yeah, when you we're in New York.
No,
so
if
that's
you're looking
tough.
at a house and there's like little windows.
Yeah, like every roof
I
is like kind
understand
of
that.
triangular. So there was starting to become some ambiguity when we were talking about A-frames, but we stayed in like a real, like it is just, and then the ground.
Pictures are stunning.
people are like, some people that I've sent the song to were like, or that I've sent the project to are like, I really love A Frame. A Frame is like my favorite song.
Oh no, bro.
A Frame?
I definitely had some people say like, "What's A-frame?"
A Frame.
That's crazy.
Anyways,
That
I
is-
hope we capitalize that A.
It is.
Yeah.
And I hope there's a dash.
There is.
There
There
is
is.
a dash.
Okay, cool.
No,
cool.
we talked at length about that, how to format it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so also with that song, I feel like, oh my God, wait, I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
You mentioned
I'll
boxes that you had, like, and like anthemic Lumineers type energy is like what you were looking for in one of the boxes. What were the other boxes that you like kind of set out before making this thing?
Hit. I'm just kidding.
No.
Goes from
That's like what we really, really like tried to avoid, was like, we're not trying to make a big song. And I think both of us in the back of our heads are like, there's going to be a big song.
I think that like truly intrinsically there's just a feeling that I think we both know and maybe aren't always the best at articulating, but like just intrinsically there's a feeling that we both are looking for while we're making music together. And we had done a few writing sessions because we started writing last summer for this project and like hadn't really gotten anything. And we sat down and it was our first night in the cabin in Big Bear and we wrote "And the Government Too." And that was the first time that like, yeah, it's hard. I know it's so lame, but like it's really a feeling that we know what it feels like when we're writing. And we know that like, if we can achieve that feeling, the song is what we wanted to make. I think it's like, it's a pretty maybe evocative, is that a word? Evocative? Provocative? Provocative like feels weird to me. It should have like
It evokes a feeling.
It evokes yeah, something. It's just so raw and honest and like, again, I think that what makes this record special is like it really comes from like us having such candid conversations as friends. And I think when that vulnerability and like authenticity like comes through in the music, we kind of know like, all right, we have like achieved what we're looking for.
How long did it take you to finish the whole album?
A year?
Well, I feel like we wrote a lot of it and then we're like, okay, we're producing it. You know, we had like all the demos. It took us probably a year to like write everything and get it all together, but we finished the album in like 3 weeks.
Well,
4
not
weeks
even, because
with Tom.
like I feel like we were adding stuff till the end.
Yeah, it was quicker. Like it took longer to write all the songs, but in terms of finishing it, it happened way quicker than the last one. Brent 2 was like months and months of like finishing 5 songs. Like it was so like not overproduced, but like so crafted to like every little blip and beep and boop.
Yeah, meticulous.
And this one we were like a lot freer with it and a lot more natural and really just trying to like capture what was in the room.
How much was actually like written in the A-frame house?
Government, A-frame,
I miss you.
I Miss You, yeah.
Those 3 maybe.
I Miss
I
You's
Miss-
great.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I mean, to be fair, it is about a breakup, right? That's at least the interpretation on this side.
A lot of the lyrics came from you.
coincidentally hadn't gone through my breakup yet, but
Fortune telling.
don't love that.
Dude, that is, but isn't that, but that's like art and like also like emotion and like, like there's a bunch of things manifested in art sometimes.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, like I think a big thing I stand by as a writer is like once you experience an emotion, like you know what that feeling feels like and you can write about it till the cows come home, like whether it's something you're currently going through. Like I've had my heart broken enough to like I can write a heartbreak song, you know.
But have you had it heartbroken enough where you can anticipate it coming?
Man, you'd have to ask my therapist that. I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Do you anticipate it coming in the record?
I'm looking at you, I guess, because I think that.
Oh, I've seen your eyes in a while.
It's really bright here.
Keep them on.
That's right.
I don't know that I was present enough in my life the last, like, kind of the year that we were writing Brent to have, like, the introspection or foresight to know that.
Why were you present? Was it because you were focused on this?
No, I think being present is really hard. And I think that,
Amen.
yeah, like being present's hard. It's a skill and it's something that like, I think we have to work at every day. And like, I just think that like for a long time, like I was in like probably a depressed state and like not super open or like cognizant of it.
I think you were like writing about things that you didn't know you felt yet. But I think like deep down you were like chipping away at something.
Yeah, man. I have therapy tomorrow. I'll call you and let you know. Like I'll ask her.
No, but it's like something special comes out of something that is so beautifully like there's nothing like more personal than music, right? And something special comes out when you're doing it with a friend and someone like people you genuinely feel safe at and people who know you and understand you and like also recognize you and seen you at many different stages of life. And like, I don't know, like it is the environment where something like, you know what I mean? Like you should be writing about things you don't know yet or feeling without even knowing you're fucking feeling it. Cause I can only imagine it should be the safest possible space. No?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that, and we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, the two of us, but I think that one of my favorite things about Brent 3 is I feel like we really pushed each other to go even further and like be even more vulnerable and more specific with subject matter that we wanted to write about. And I think like, I don't know, someone had asked us like, how do you think Brent 3 has like grown from the previous Brent projects? And I think that's probably like my biggest takeaway is I feel like we really pushed each other to be vulnerable.
Dude, emotionally complex is like, if as somebody who's consumed these things so many times, way more complex. Like definitely like that, more layers to the songs.
Yeah, like there's no song that's just like I'm sad or I'm in love. Like everything is coming from a pretty like nuanced perspective.
I feel like more than anything, I feel like we just don't question each other when it comes to writing lyrics. Like, for example, Ashes and Rust, Chelsea wrote about a really personal generational trauma in her family.
My grandpa just stunk. It's okay, we can say it. Like he just stunk.
And
sorry, dude.
So like we're in a studio for 5 hours. Like the song came together pretty quick from start to finish. And Chelsea's just flowing and like writing these amazing lyrics. And as it was coming, I was like, whoa, this is fucking deep. But I like didn't even comment on it. And it was just like, okay, this is what this song is about. This is what this song wants to be.
That's it.
And like no judgment. Like everything that she was singing that was hitting the mark, even if it was like devastating or like made me uncomfortable or whatever, I like felt the rawness and the realness of it. And my tummy is so grumbly.
If you want a snack, we can get you something. But like that song does make me emotional, and like it's also how you know you have a great song on your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like all those things that you just said you felt is like,
God, that just happened in like the most emotional moment, and then my tummy was like,
Your tummy's
Enough.
being deflective. But we have, I think that relationship is so reciprocal. There are times as well, and I think probably "End the Government" is like your most personal song on the record, but I think it goes both ways where like you can just tell when one of us is bursting at the seams with something that we want to say or dive in on. And I think something that's special about our friendship and working relationship is like, I think the mark of a good friend is like when they kind of imply like they need to talk about something, you're like, all right, tell me more about that. Like, let's dive in. And I think kind of in a musical way, we're able to do that with each other.
yeah, while you're catching up and just talking about shit going on in your life. I mean, if you won't change for us, then at least have the guts to pretend. I mean, incredible song.
Thank you, man.
Incredible song.
Thank you for being kind of the worst, Grandpa.
What is it like sharing that with your family?
I was really scared, and there's actually like a little, we put a little voice note in the song of, we were just in the studio listening to it, and I was like, I hope my mom doesn't kill me for this song. And Jeremy put that in.
you just like said it casually while we were editing it, and you're like, I hope my mom doesn't kill me for this one. And I was like, Chelsea, put that in the song. Like,
Yeah,
sing that
so
in
if
the
you
mic,
listen, it's in
put it in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
Second verse.
I was scared. To be completely honest, like, as close as I am with my parents, like we really are so close. I like don't have a relationship with them where I send them music like ever. Like I'll put out an album, and
They'll hear it with the rest of the public.
yeah, or like sometimes I'm not even confident that
They do.
they do. Like they're like living in outer space in like an adorable way. But like, this was the first time that I ever like intentionally sent them the Dropbox folder of the masters. And I was like, here is this record. Jeremy and I are finished. There's a song called Ashes and Rust. It's about Granddad. And I was freaking out. And they couldn't have been more warm, and like they couldn't have received it better.
That's special.
I think they like cried, which is too much for me.
But I don't know. It evokes that sort of emotion. And it's hyper relatable.
Yeah. No, I think it was just crazy, like being able to, I'm like, for as vulnerable as songwriting is, like I would say I'm not like the most vulnerable person kind of in real life, like particularly with family, which like we've definitely talked about. But I think even sending them that song, I was like, wow, I'm an adult lady. I'm sending my parents a song I wrote about our family, and it was like terrifying to do that.
Communicating something that maybe you would have never communicated otherwise.
Yeah, because I mean, I think particularly like in regards to like that relationship with my grandparents, like I think my brother and I always kind of played it off like it's cool, like it's fine. We don't really care that they don't care about us that much.
And in some way, don't you feel like if you'd had the conversation, that would have been harder than writing a song about it, though?
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad at having vulnerable conversations. So like the best way for me to ever like tell my parents my feelings is to send them a song, which is probably why I don't do it.
I was always writing songs about like things that I was too scared to say to people, and I would hope that they would like.
Would you send it?
I mean, I would put it out, you know.
Yeah.
Give me an example of that.
Crazy.
I mean,
your first big single?
Come Through?
Yeah, look, no. What was before Come Through? Come Through's so good.
All the Kids?
All the kids.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's like, dude, people were like analyzing the living shit out of that record.
Yeah. I mean, I would like, it's more like in the sad stuff. Like there's a lot of songs where I just like breadcrumbing. I'm like leaving like little hints for people that I hope if they like really cared about me, or if they really like, and this is an older me, by the way, like when I do stuff now, it's more intentional. Like in the past, it would be like, okay, I'm writing this song for this girl. She knows I'm writing this about her. There are these things about our relationship that I am like terrified to bring up. So I'm going to like, whether it's like, you know, one thing is like, it was a fantasy of, I had like a fantasy of growing up and like moving to the city with this person. And that was nothing we ever talked about. And those words, like I put those words in a song. And there's also like a big history of me putting like messages into songs or like being cute in like a way where they only know if they like really look into it. Where like they never said anything about it to me. Like I would leave these messages and I feel like they would always go unanswered. You know, specifically like the culmination of all that is my song Julia. Because I then wrote a song about how many songs I wrote for this person and how they didn't ever acknowledge it.
Like a test? Or like
a test.
Did she acknowledge it when her name was the song?
Yeah, of course. Because that was like, this is the
it's as obvious
time.
as it can be.
Yeah, literally.
She doesn't really need to listen.
Yeah.
She just needs to look at it.
Yeah.
True.
But that's fucked up though. Because with every song, you're hoping that she's going to say something.
Yeah. And so writing that song was me like closing the chapter on like doing that sort of thing.
And what do you learn about love in that moment?
I learned that wasn't love
That.
for sure. And you know, it's like this like hopeless romanticism that a lot of us grow up with. And it's like playing into like the sad boy aesthetic and all of that, which like I used to be and have kind of grown out of. And I think a lot of it also was like making really sad music was like how I got it off my chest. And once it was out there, like it wasn't as heavy anymore. Yeah. Now when I like put personal things into songs, I am like really, I'll send it to the person. Or like if it's like too specific and like a little sensitive, like before it comes out, I'm gonna be like, you're in the song, so it doesn't blindside you. And this is what I wrote and this is what it meant. And blah,
That's
blah, blah.
mature.
Yeah, that's super healthy.
I don't know if I would do that. That's mature.
Thanks.
What if they say I would appreciate if you didn't?
Oh, I don't frame it like if you're okay with this. I'm like, check this
Just
out.
so you know.
This
so
is
you
a
know.
simple courtesy.
And I'm like rarely writing mean things. If I'm writing something mean, like their name is not going to be in it.
Right.
Can we talk about Love You Into Loving Me?
Yeah.
It's a real thing. That is a real thing. You think, like, you know, this idea that like if you just keep pouring love into somebody, it's eventually going to flow back into your direction and it's going to be this mutual thing, this reciprocal relationship. But the reality is like it is so false. And ultimately it's just a giant waste of time. It's deep. Definitely not personal. I don't feel understood by this record at all. I haven't done that one bit. No.
Yeah, you're like,
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a lot of these songs make people feel understood. It's great. Where are you at when you write this record? Are you realizing that you've poured love into something that like a waste? Because I've had those moments where you realize it.
I think I think it's probably important to like contextualize that like the vast majority of anything I've written in the like as an adult, like I was in a relationship for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about like at length before. And like we had broken up like really early in the relationship, and I think that I derived like a lot of inspiration throughout the years kind of from the feeling of that initial breakup, even though like reconciliation had happened. But like I said, like I think once you experience those things,
They store with you.
you can write about it for a long time. And yeah, man, I don't know, like I was actually thinking about this when we got the masters back, that the song feels like more personal to me now than probably at the point of writing it, which is pretty crazy.
The song really reminds me of I Can't Make You Love Me, Bonnie Raitt. Do you know that one?
Yeah, of course.
It's just like obviously in like in a totally different way, but when you sent it to me, first, I was like, wow, that fucking hits.
Yeah,
That
similar. I mean,
hurts.
similar sentiment. Yeah.
But a lot of this, like, you can't really realize what you were doing until you're out of it, right? Like, you may, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it comes from reflection.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, like, even when it's immediate, like, you don't really fully know. Any other songs that have taken on a new meaning to you between the time of making it to the time of releasing it?
That's a good question. I mean, that I would say that's been like the one that for me has very obviously kind of come back to haunt me a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about Terrible Things too, because like hopefully there's a world where soon I'll be able to like have a crush again and like start to like new things about a person. And
It is such a hopeful record.
yeah. So that I'm clinging on to that one. I'm like manifesting
Yeah,
that something nice happens to me someday.
I'll manifest that for you too.
Thanks, man.
Do you feel compelled to feel understood or find relatability to these records that you're also lending your voice to and producing? Like the ones that she's writing?
yeah. Like I really try not to force it. But yeah, like a lot of these songs come from Chelsea's spontaneity in the moment and just like, boom, this concept comes out. And sometimes it makes sense for me to like write a verse about my perspective on it. And other times like Ashes and Rust, it's like, this is Chelsea's story. And yeah, I don't try to force it. Like we're in it together and we're writing it together. And yeah, when it works out great and nice and like equally is like, that's when I can kind of write my perspective on like the line of the chorus or whatever. But when a song is hyper specific, it's hard for me to like weigh in. But Terrible Things, like we went back and forth on that and it was cool to have a different perspective on the verse.
I think too, at the end of the day, everything we're writing about is relatable on some level as a human. So even if there is a song that is coming like a little bit more from a personal experience for me or a little bit more from one of Jeremy's personal experiences, like I think that we both, again, like, I think we're both empaths, as songwriters, and like I think we're both able to relate to each other. And even with a song like In the Government, like I haven't really been in a long distance relationship, but I understand that longing and that aching. And even though like that song is more Jeremy's story to tell, like as his friend, I think I feel honored to get to kind of share that sentiment with you and get to kind of help bring that to life.
How does it feel to just know if you came here tonight and I looked in your eyes, I would hold you so close if I ever let go. I don't know I'd survive.
I said this to you before, man, but hearing your lyrics read out loud to you, I'm like,
and it's like, I'm like, I don't do any of them justice,
Really? I think it's like nice ASMR listening to you read it.
That's actually the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time. Thank you very much. It was really nice. I'm going to replay that. This is about a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
For keeping us apart. The government too. Is it somebody overseas?
Yeah, they were overseas, and now they're here.
Huge. Whoa. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. What? What?
Yeah, I got married like 4 months ago. You didn't know that? You're like, this has not in my notebook.
This has to be in my research.
That's not in my notes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that like a known thing?
Yeah, I posted about it.
Wait, why the
I try
fuck
not
is...
to like to advertise,
My boyfriend's from Australia. We had a lot of government problems.
Yeah, so you know what it's like.
Yeah, the visa was crazy, dude.
Yeah. Nightmare process.
It's very hard.
Nightmare process. Like we were going through so many different options on like how to live together in the same place. And like, I mean, like a full year at least of just like going through everything and like talking to lawyers and this and that. And by the end of that time, we're like, we're going to get married anyway. Why don't we just do it now?
Yeah.
And then it ended up being this like gorgeous, beautiful, spontaneous, amazing thing.
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Thank you. Also, like this happened right before the Brent stuff started rolling out, and like I didn't want to like distract from all of that, but actually we'll be posting something really soon about it to this song and the government too, because obviously
I couldn't understand fully, and then like
yeah,
it all makes sense.
yeah. So it was written about my now wife, who we were trying to figure out how to make it work, and all we wanted to do was just live in the same place, like in the same city, and how just silly and ridiculous it is to think that something as like abstract and like and devoid of emotion, or not abstract, but something as like overarching and devoid of emotion as the government has a say in like the most human interpersonal thing ever, love.
Yes.
Like the fact that the government can tell me who I can be with is crazy. And obviously there's like way worse like issues in other countries that like have real laws against like people being together. But yeah, in this situation where there wasn't a real like cultural barrier, it just felt bizarre. And then we were like, let's just fucking get married. So it's like it's funny that that like there was this really intense song about it, and then we kind of solved the problem shortly after. But at the time it was like this really romantic like problem that we had, you know? And it was so simple but so complicated. And also the metaphors in the song I'd still love. Like, eyes closed, I'm in my own little lifeboat a few hundred miles off the West Coast, wishing I always had you close.
It's just so much better when Zach says it out loud.
Yeah.
Feels better.
Oh my God. And then the second verse, did you know that the continent's sliding and 10 million years we're colliding, because she's German. And like, obviously the continents are moving on the tectonic plates. Pangea. And did you know that the continent's sliding, 10,000 years we're colliding, at least we won't have to be flying, because we're just flying back and forth to see each other all the time. Isn't it nice to imagine? Honestly, the thing that really got us through the whole thing was like imagining that this was just a funny story we were going to tell our kids one day.
Wait, how long were you guys apart?
We never spent more than like a month and a half apart.
Were you going there? She was coming here?
She was mostly coming here, but I went there for Christmas last year.
So are there any songs on this album about her?
Yeah. So, I mean, A-Frame started a lot because we really like fantasized about it. Like online, people are calling it like homesteading, you know, like living off the land and like moving into the wilderness and like farming and having animals and like chickens and like doing cute, wholesome shit all the time.
You're doing that?
No, no. I mean, like that's like the dream, not legit like farming or like running a farm, but like I want chickens.
But you want enough to live.
Yeah, and
you're not going to kill the chickens. You just want them to make eggs.
No. Like,
are you sure you thought about that?
Yeah, yeah. I think everyone who's like seriously considered like getting chickens has thought about, would I eat them?
But like, you know,
I thought about getting chickens for my house, and I never once thought I'm gonna eat them.
No. Not I'm gonna eat them, but would I eat them?
Like in an emergency?
No, I think maybe if one got if one got sick and died, you know.
Why do you want to eat a sick
chicken?
Okay, if it died of natural causes, old chicken.
Okay. I mean, probably the meat's
It's
not
just
great.
weird. That's like a whole nother conversation of like pets versus animals.
Totally.
Blah, blah, blah. But anyways.
You want to live off the land one day.
Yeah. I have this fantasy of living off the land, and me and my wife share that. And so A-Frame was like, we stayed in this beautiful A-Frame, Chelsea and I, writing music. And I was like, she would fucking love this. And we also like, Chelsea and I have talked about like things that have become Brent core over the years, and like so many things that we associate with the world of Brent being like, yeah, like we're in nature and summer camp and like reconnecting with ourselves and watching movies and being cozy and log cabin, pine trees, like all these things that became like a part of it. And then like, I feel like the furthest in that direction we went was like chopping wood, flannels and chopping wood. And so literally it became the bridge of the song, but originally it was the pre-chorus. And it was like, we'll drive out on I-90, right?
Yeah.
I-90. We'll drive out on 90, get some bundles of wood.
Dude, and then the whiskey by the fire, like
Yeah.
No, gin.
gin.
bro.
I'm so sorry.
Sitting
so
by the
sorry,
fire with a bottle of gin. Baby, it's your world. I'm just happy you let me in. I love that song. It's a genius. It's not to toot our collective horn, but
If you want to call it
it's
genius, then I
genius.
guess.
Ow.
Do you have like a vision board that like are like things
board.
that are Brent? Like
I feel like we don't need it.
like a mood board?
It's so
You live it.
yeah, dude.
You are
We
it.
live it. No, we don't. I think it's a great place for us to go, but like you live in Los Angeles and I live in New York City, so we definitely don't like live Brent all the time.
We talked about starting like a summer camp, didn't we, Jesse?
I'm not like totally sure I was involved in that conversation. What are you talking about?
No, we
Starting a
talked
summer
about.
camp?
No, we talked.
For
No, we
like
talked.
children or adults? And also
Adults sounds fire.
Well-
Summer camp for adults is a great idea
Yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
get in on that business, yes, right?
for sure.
Like,
Yeah, I
it's
miss
dim-
camp.
Yeah, it's like a vacation, but it's camp.
Yeah, and organized activities. I love an organized hang.
Yeah, and you could bring your friend group, and then maybe you meet new friend groups.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So true.
Maybe people are
someone's
doing
definitely
this,
someone's definitely
Right?
doing that. But
yeah, it seems like a really good idea. Shit. Anyway,
But yeah.
friend camp.
But I think we just know what it is. Like we don't need a mood board. Like I think it's just like naturally evolved into this thing that's truly so defined.
Like, at what stage does like chopping wood get introduced to like the lifestyle of Brent? It's
that
by
was Brent
3.
too.
Oh, really?
Chopping wood got involved during Brent too, because we shot at my friend's cabin, and she has a wood burning stove. I actually think you weren't here for this, Chelsea. It was like right before Chelsea and I were about to go to one cabin in New York somewhere, and I stayed at my friend's cabin like the night before, and we shot some stuff because I was with Stefan. But she has a wood burning stove, and we needed wood for the fire. So
You
we're
chopped
just
some?
chopping wood with an axe on a stump. And it's so silly, but like that is like,
Have you ever tried it? It's
No, it's no.
like hard.
I don't think I have the strength for that.
It's so hard.
No, I can't even throw a fucking axe. Like, I can't do that.
That sounds
what
harder.
do you mean can't even throw it? That's like not an easy thing to do.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
but
hard.
think.
have
I
you
can't
seen the
throw an
places
axe.
where they axe throw?
Yeah, the axe throwing thing.
Feels like a liability.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they
No
probably
one
have the
should be
best
allowed
lawyers.
I have a vision of you like chopping wood. Like, I can see it kind of.
I have a video on my phone. I'll show you after.
Yeah, we should roll that in. Like, that should cut to
Me
this.
chopping wood. You know, I think I was even wearing flannel while I was chopping the wood.
Wow.
It was sick.
That's core.
We were like riding. That's core.
core, man.
Brand core. Yeah, we're really lucky that we get to play around in this world.
Black and White is a love song.
No, it's actually not.
I mean, it explores a bunch of emotional stuff about healing, but like,
I got mad DMs
The-
when we put out Black and White, where everyone was like, literally people like thought I had like a new like relationship, and I was like, no. That song started from I started that song the day I got home from tour, and
Who was laying down next to you?
my dog, laying down next to me, a couple miles out of Tennessee. I was thinking about like being on the back of the bus with my dog because one of my dogs comes with me like on tour, and I was just reminiscing. It was the day I got home from tour, like the dopamine was just flowing, and
Before the post-tour depression kicks in?
yeah, you're on a high for like a little bit until it dissipates. And no, I mean I just sat down and started writing about like, I think to be honest, like to do our job and be like a sane and hopefully grounded human, like it does take like a lot of desensitization, because like if you really think about like stepping onto a stage every night where like thousands of people bought tickets to come see you or like to meet you, like I can't like live in that reality. But to sit down and like have a moment of really acknowledging that, like I was just really like so unbelievably overwhelmed with gratitude. I was like, this is just incredibly like overwhelming and beautiful thing that we get to do this for a job. And then, you know, Jeremy helped finish the song, and it's really just about like feeling so grateful for this like incredible thing we have.
It's kind of like a thank you to the fans.
It is. It's like a love song, but not romantic.
Yeah,
perhaps.
and it's so funny. Like it, you know, in ways like you connect. Like there's this thing that like can only give you this healing thing that you desire, and yeah, like it makes sense that it is what it means to be on stage.
It's when you let yourself really think and marinate kind of in that for a second. Like I mean, you could probably testify. Like it's got to be the most surreal feeling of all time. Like when I usually once a tour, it will hit me and I will sob uncontrollably for a little while. And then I'll be like, get it together, lock in and finish tour. And then, you know, you kind of are like, all right, this is my job. You know, I'm going to work each day. But when you really think about it, it's like, I feel so grateful. Yeah.
It's weird to have, like, weird in a surreal, like, insanely, like, dopamine in the brain surging way to have, like, hundreds, thousands of people you don't know, like, being happy that you're you.
Yeah.
On stage.
I mean, it's just like, I remember like even with Radio City, like, you know, I'd always wanted to play Radio City so badly. And like, there was a period of time where I was so like ambition, like I was so like goal oriented that I was like, yeah, obviously I'm playing Radio City. Like that's how this is supposed to go. And then broke the fuck down when I really thought, like, came back down to earth for a second and was like, oh my God, like all these people in one city, like wanted to come, like see you just being you. And like, it's a really like unhuman thing to acknowledge.
It gets trippy when you think about all of these people are like going out on a Thursday or Friday night and like you're the entertainment for the night. Like they're like the same way you would go and see a concert with friends. Like
you're the concert.
You're the concert.
But like, dude, it's just crazy, man. Like think how often like there's an artist that comes into town and you're like moved to like spend $40 to go spend your night seeing them. And I think to like remember that's what people are doing when they like come to your shows or like even add you to a playlist or like anything intentional around supporting your career. It's like, I mean, it's overwhelmingly beautiful, and like I could talk in circles about it because I think you would agree. Like, there's no words that express how like surreal and cool that is. It's every day I'm like, what's happening?
You're a part of their life.
It's just beautiful. It's just like a beautiful thing. But I think that that song is like our best attempt at trying to recognize that and sit in that.
Does disassociating from the success allow you to be a better songwriter?
I think it's allowed me to like be hopefully not a narcissist. I hope. Like looking for validation.
You're not a narcissist.
From everyone else.
You're not a narcissist.
Neither are you. But I think something about both of us too is like, for the most part, like our lives like haven't really changed like that much. Like we've been with the same management from the beginning, like the same, like literally all my friends are like the same people I've been hanging out with since I was like 12, 13 years old.
That's amazing.
When I'm not playing shows, like I genuinely forget that people listen to my music. Like I literally do. Like if someone comes up to me on the street, which like doesn't happen that much, like I have forgotten that like that they're coming up to me like because they listen to me or something. I don't know. It's
so weird.
It's really strange. Cause like I don't feel like that every day. Like I'm not like, ooh, I'm like an artist that like releases music that people listen to. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
I think it's good maybe to not like think about it very much.
I mean, yeah, it allows you to be human beings and people. And I don't know, it gives us vulnerable records that are, again, people feel really understood by. What's the purpose of the Toothbrush song, though? It's a great song. It feels like it should have been longer.
What do you mean, what's the purpose?
I mean, it's 1 minute and 20 seconds.
It's 1 minute and 20 seconds.
I wanted it to be longer.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to make it longer, but it's how long can a song about reminding someone to brush their teeth really be?
But it's really reminding someone how much you love them.
Yeah. But it's like, it's a song about reminding someone to brush their teeth.
I mean,
No, it's a love song. You're right. Well, I don't know. I like always thought I was going to make it longer. And then like the end is when I introduced the sentiment of like, I'll remind you if you forget to brush your teeth. Oops. That I just wanted to end on that. And I don't know. It's just like, it's a vignette. It's like a little tiny little story and a really like cutesy moment. And I think it being short is what keeps it cutesy.
you love being in love, eh?
Yeah. It's pretty tight.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Love is cool.
Okay, guys, relax. Both of you, relax.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So happy for you both.
Dude, life is crazy though. Life is crazy. The world is wild. People come in for seasons. People come in for numerous seasons. Everything is for a reason though. Genuinely. Every loss is a lesson. And that's so fucking corny, but it's genuinely true. And like every person that enters your zone, no matter for how long, I mean, that's an impression. You know, you learn something. You take something from that. Do you learn anything about yourself from making this album?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I'm like definitely always learning when making music because I'm really like pushing myself to get better. And like one of the songs almost didn't make the project because I was overthinking it. And I mean, it's just one of the many lessons that I've had where the solution is stop overthinking it, you know?
Yeah, it's a special song too.
What song?
And the government too.
What were you
Yeah.
overthinking on it?
I was really upset. I was literally overthinking the production, because like I had like a different vision for it that like I couldn't see it through, and I was like really torn about it because the lyrics were like my favorite thing I've ever done, and we were kind of like in finishing the album, we had our deadlines, and like that one like needed the most work to get across the line in my head. And so I'd saved it for last and I didn't think we had enough time to do it. And we basically like, it was like perfect how it was. And I just thought that it needed to go further and it didn't.
It's perfect. That song felt like, it's crazy because it was the first song that we wrote that we knew we wanted to be on the project. And then it was coincidentally the last song to kind of get tacked on at the end, but I think it's so perfectly encapsulates the world that we were trying to build with this record, and I'm eternally grateful that you like ended up wanting to finish it.
Thanks for pushing me.
I was annoying
In the group chat.
I texted him like once a week.
You were like, wait, is government not going to be on the
I was
album?
like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, we did it.
I know, I'm really proud of you.
11 songs.
I think one thing I learned is that I do order food at the beginning of every session. You taught me that. I was like,
I forget why that came up.
we were doing the like who.
Oh yeah, we like made questions for. Oh, it was like close your eyes. Which one of you, blah blah blah, the most? I don't know. What was the question? Who orders food the most?
Yeah.
And I was like Chelsea
like,
at the beginning of
you.
every session.
And you're so right. I can't start my day without lunch.
Can't start my day
I
without
can't
lunch.
start my day without lunch. I would say that like the biggest thing I've learned probably with making this project is, again, presence. I think has been a really big theme for me, and like I think in the past I've been so kind of my goals have always kind of been very like achievement based or like finish line based. Like, all right, we're going to make Brent and then we're going to announce a tour and then we're going to go on a tour and then we're going to do it. And then it's going to be the end of the year, and then you can take a breath and like chill. And like, that's just what a shame, like to.
Yeah. Autopilot milestones.
Yeah, man. And like getting yourself out of autopilot, I think it is like really hard. But I think that like in the process of making this record, like I've definitely like come into a place where I'm like, I was even kind of emotional this morning, probably because I have my period and I've just been crying all the time. But and I quit all my SSRIs. But like Jeremy was sitting at my kitchen table on his laptop, and like my stylist was over and one of our managers was over, and I was like, this is so sick. Like we're just sipping coffee, chatting, getting ready, and like you're just getting to spend the day with like these people you love so much. And like, yeah, I feel like I've just like hopefully been a better friend and like collaborator, trying to just lock in and like appreciate everything more. We're going to look back on like, especially if, you know, cause we, you know, we've talked a lot about this being like the last installment of Brent for now. And like, I know we're going to look back at this in years, and like, I just want to know that like we cherished every second of it.
Why is it important to put a period on it for now?
Good Things. The last song is like pretty representative of why we're kind of turning the page and closing the book a little bit. You know, it's kind of a cliche saying. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to say the saying correctly, but like, scratch the saying thing. Basically, the line in Good.
What's the saying?
I don't know. That's why.
Is it like good things come to an end? What are you saying?
It's like all good things must end.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Right? God, I'm so
All
stupid.
good things come to an end.
No,
All
you're
good
brilliant.
things come to an end. So yeah, we in the song it's good things never stay.
People always
And
change.
People always change.
Life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way before you know. Heroes always fall. One day, don't we all? You know what people say. Good things never stay. And it's pretty depressing. But there's like a bit of a silver lining in my head where it's like something isn't special if it's lasting forever, because each moment means less if you have all the moments. And if you have a finite amount of moments, like we all do, each moment means more. And so only like all good things must come to an end. If it goes on forever, you know, it's not as special. So putting a period at the end of this is what's making it so special. And I hate like endless sequels, and I love like when things are wrapped up with a nice little bow and like presented. And that's what we wanted to do with Brent. And it's such an, at least just for me and Chelsea, like it's iconic, like in our eyes, like what we get to do together and what we get to make together. And wrapping it up and not having it be this thing that's looming forever and like, should we make a Brent 4? You know, like I think it's a chapter that we're really grateful to have like completed, and we can step back and be like, we did this.
And also, like, if in 5 years or in 10 years we want to make a Brent 4, then fuck you, we will.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, it's
like,
if you're called to do it.
yeah, like
Yeah, it's like
I feel like,
Beetlejuice too.
yeah, I didn't see
Sorry.
that yet, but
It's good.
but like I think that putting a period on it feels good, because I think human beings want closure and to categorize. And I feel really liberated by the fact that like Tom Brady came out of retirement. You can do whatever you want. And if we change our mind someday, great. And if we feel like doing a reunion tour or something someday, great. And if we don't, then also great.
Free will's amazing.
Crazy when you like realize it.
Because like it takes a minute to actually realize it. You know, that like
Totally.
your own destiny is very much within your control.
Yeah, I just maybe like I'm in a phase in life where like finality scares me a little, maybe. But I like thinking there's a world where, like, when we're both 40 and we're like, should you, me, and a acoustic guitar go play, like, a few theaters? Why not? Maybe.
It'd be tight.
I can't tell if you're into it or not.
No, I'm into it. That sounds so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
It's cute to think that, like,
I don't know how cool it will be, but it will be cool to get to do.
it's cool to think that there's a universe where, like, that exists as a
Yeah, that could
possibility.
happen.
Yeah.
Is it easier or harder to make music with somebody?
Ooh.
It depends on the person. For the longest time, I couldn't make music with anyone except for Chelsea.
That's really special.
Yeah.
But also, like,
I think we make really special music together.
It was just like that. I don't know.
It's also, but both are hard and easy. Like, there are moments where, like, we're in the studio together and I'm sure I'm scrolling on Instagram and he wants to shoot me with a gun. And there are moments where, like, I think an idea is cool and he doesn't like it as much and I want to, like, yank his hair out. Like, that happens. And I think there are moments where it feels like literal magic flowing in the room and, like, it couldn't feel more natural and, like, more beautiful and more easy. So I think that's, like, the dynamic of any relationship or, like, collaborative relationship. And also that's, like, the dynamic of creating in general. Like, even when I'm alone, there are times where, like, creativity pours out of me and there are times where I literally look in the mirror and I'm like, you don't deserve a platform to say anything. And, like, I think that's kind of a natural dichotomy that exists as an artist.
do you get into ruts on that, or do you come out of it by actually finishing a song or pushing yourself to write a song?
I think we're fairly different in that. If I'm not feeling creative, I'm gonna, like, go for a walk and get lunch and, like,
Love a lunch.
give it a break.
Love a lunch.
Take a shot for every time I say lunch. Yeah, I think
I
we're
haven't
all
started
different.
my day until I eat lunch. My day hasn't begun until I've eaten lunch.
Your eyes actually haven't opened.
Well, I don't eat breakfast, guys, so
It's called intermittent fasting.
not on
Intermittent
purpose. Just lazy. I don't know. I think we're different. Like, I think you have like a stronger discipline and a stronger commitment to a moment than I do. I think that I definitely view creativity, like, a little bit more as a fleeting thing. For sure.
I'm definitely trying to force it sometimes.
Which is okay. Like, sometimes that works, and sometimes you have to.
If one
get up
time,
and
if you
try
can,
later.
if there's something special, and, like, one time, and it feels like it's not coming together, and you want to give up, and one time, you have brute forced your way through it and ended in a place that you really enjoy, then it's really hard to not do that every time there's something special. And I just have to be, like, forgiving with myself when it's not working out.
Because sometimes, like, even if you have something special, like, I don't know, if I sit down and maybe a hook comes and that hook feels really special, but it feels like a force to try to get verses right then and there. Like, I have no problem letting it live as a voice memo on my phone for a couple months
And then coming back to
and
it.
trying again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. Like, there's no really one right way. Like, and also, like, people keep describing, like, consistently about, like, a flow state and, like, songs just flowing through them, and, you know. But then also there's this idea of, like, letting that flow state happen, you get something, and then you come back, and when creativity strikes again, you add to what already exists. Just, like, there's obviously no one right way to create art.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. By the way, you can listen to Brent 3. It's waiting for you. It's all on Amazon Music. We're going to put a link below. Also, you can listen to all the Brents. They're there, waiting for you. Amazon Music. Link below. How about you? Harder or easier to make music with somebody?
Easier to begin, harder to end it. Like, easier to begin a song with somebody and easier to finish a song alone for me.
Is it?
Sorry, that's so
No, I get it.
confusing.
Maybe that's why Brent works, though, too, because Jeremy is just such a talented. I think he's like one of the best producers and of our generation of musicians for sure. But I think that we're like explosively creative together, and then he's really excellent at taking everything over the finish line. Like you're so meticulous with that, and I just don't. Like my brain doesn't work that way. I can't sit there. He'll sit and play with like a spring reverb for literally 4 hours. And I'm like lying on the floor like, bro, we gotta get food.
It's a blessing and a curse.
No, it's just a blessing, dude. You're so talented, and I think that's why Brent is the way it is, because like again, we're so explosive together, and then you're able to take kind of all the paint on the wall and really fine tune it after the fact.
Would you want to produce more sessions for other people?
Oh, that's the plan.
Sick.
Yeah. Hit me up, new artists.
Slide into the DMs.
Slide into the DMs. Yeah, no, I think that's like the long-term goal for me. I mean, I'm gonna always be writing music and releasing music, but producing for other people is really exciting to me.
What do you get out of that? What's the fulfillment?
The fulfillment is like all of the fun with almost none of the stress, because none of it is, and I say that now before I've like taken on like a lot of other people's projects, because I'm sure the stress kicks in when there's a lot to do. But
different type of stress, maybe.
A different type of stress. Like it's just not attached to ego. And that's, I think, the issue that I have with being an artist sometimes. It's too connected with like how I feel about myself and like how I perceive myself. And I feel like I always have to be someone that is perceived. Like I always have to be somebody that is a way. And I don't always feel like a way. I feel like I'm a lot of different ways all the time. But yeah, with making music, like to not worry like, oh, is this my identity now? Or like, does it matter that it's to this or to that? Like, is this exactly what I see for myself? It's like, I love that. I love that for you. I love that for you. Not for me, but like, I love that for you. That's like the vibe.
No, but it's true. Like, it's weird. Like that ego that is needed to be an artist leads to like severe selfishness that leads to lack of presence, right? Like it's all connected. Like, why is it hard to be present? Because like, I don't know, you are your own business and you are your own source of art that generates the money to keep the business afloat. Like you're wrapped in your own thoughts and head about 1,000 different things that like have to do with you. And like,
you got to be a sick fuck to be good at it.
Totally.
Like seriously. That's why there's so many like horror stories of like superstars being shitty, you know?
Here's the deal. There's incredible superstars that are really kind and like heartwarming and like beautiful humans. But like the other thing is like, there is a layer of selfishness or like many seasons of selfishness that are required to like become fucking great at something. Like Ryan Tedder has said it on our show more than once. It's like the greatest pop stars in the world for many years are selfish. And you can kind of get it, right? Yeah. Like everything is revolved around them.
I was going to talk about that in therapy this week. I was thinking about that.
What?
Now you don't have to.
The world has, it's all in voice.
No, just like it's inherently like, there's just an inherently like selfish tendencies like baked into being an artist.
Yes, it forces you to be that way because like you have to think about yourself. And you can also take yourself out of it and think about it as like this outside thing. But then the reality is like the music's not going to be as good because the reason the music is good is because you pour yourself into it. It's like this vicious cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I think it takes a degree of like hubris also to like have a vision and be like, yes, all of like, cause you have like all these people working around you and with you to like bring that vision to life. And like that inherently is kind of weird.
Yeah. Cause your vision becomes everyone's vision and it's now shared. And that vision is so tied to like who you are as a person and who you are at every stage of your life. Yeah. So you listen back to your catalog and you can totally, right? Like you are your catalog now. Mm-hmm. Listen to Brent. It's waiting for you. There's a link below. This was nice. Thanks for doing this like outside of a studio.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Literally any time. I like this energy.
I really like this couch.
Good couch.
You want it?
Where would it go?
I don't know. You have a nice apartment with Biggie on the wall.
I do have Biggie on the wall.
You have Biggie wallpaper, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, sunglasses are going back on. That's how you know it's over.
I wish I had some of those.
Listen to
I'm
Brent, please.
hungry.
Go eat. Jeremy Zucker and Chelsea Cutler, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, man.
This was fun.